Sun, sea, cinema. Sitting on Worthing seafront, the Dome Cinema is one of the oldest working cinemas in the country. Built by Carl Siebold and opening in 1911, the Dome, originally named the Kursaal, contained the Coronation Hall, which was used for roller skating, exhibitions and for concerts, and the Electric Theatre, which showed short, silent cartoons and is still used to show films today. The Electric Theatre was so successful that in 1921 the Coronation Hall was turned into the main cinema screen, with the Electric Theatre being transformed into a ballroom and the building undergoing a remodelling, including the addition of a ticket booth, which is still in use today. The building has run as such ever since, apart from during the war when it was forced to close and during refurbishments. In the lead up to the Second World War, more cinemas opened in Worthing, until at the end of the war there were 5 cinemas. This caused hard times for the Dome, with the main changes made between 1921 and 1993 being a new CinemaScope sound system and a wide screen fitted in 1954. This led to the building being in need of some desperate repairs. In 2002, the Electric Theatre was converted back into a cinema screen, and with money from the Heritage Lottery Fund, the building closed for major refurbishments in 2005 for over 18 months, reopening in July 2007.
B. Wood, General Manager of the Dome Cinema, Worthing.
Reese Menzel, I'm the Assistant Manager and Assistant Projectionist.
I manage the building for my boss, and he lives up north, and we have a sister cinema up there as well called the Majestic, which is in Kings Lynn, and he runs from his office in Birmingham the sort of cinema business side of it. So I'm responsible for sort of like making sure the staff are all overseen, making sure the stock's ordered, making sure the listings are done correctly, and all the advertising and marketing, and just making sure that down here runs as he would wish it to, really.
With the films, it's just a case of rewinding, lacing them up. I go through the projector, make sure it's in rack, which means make sure it's in the centre of the screen, start it, dim the lights, dim the music, and that's basically, yeah. The main projectionist has to make up the films. They turn up in boxes, just in usually in maybe 4 or 5 parts, and they has to splice them all together, and adverts and trailers and things on.
It's not just a job. I mean, it's not just film either, it's the building itself. Because it's the first cinema I ever came to, you know, I'm very passionate about the building. I've been coming here since I was 6 years old. You know, this place was always sort of quite special to me. Couldn't believe my luck when I saw this advert in the paper. And I just saw the advert and I thought, that's my job. I'm having that job.
It's quite tough sometimes, only in the sense that you could be here for 11 hours a day and you can't really leave, you know. You just find ways to entertain yourself, you make little films yourself, and it's the kind of building where it just gets your creative juices flowing, you know. You want to do something fun. Generally, you've got to be here because if there's ever any problems, especially if you're doing projection, you know, if anything happens, if the film snaps halfway through, which it has been known to do occasionally, then you've got to be there. So it's tough in that sense that you're tied down to it. But apart from that, it's, you know, it's a great place to work.
I think the character and the style of the building, it needs to be a little more art house. I think that's where we could make some big changes here this year. I don't think we could go fully fledged art house, not like the Duke of York's. They've been doing it for years and they know exactly what they're doing, whereas we need mainstream cinema to keep us afloat. But I think it'd be nice to do something maybe once a month, have a film club, and just bring in sort of a few sort of slightly different movies that I think our audience in Worthing needs. You know, lots of the customers don't all want to come and see mainstream cinema, and you know, I can understand that completely.
I think it's always gonna be a cinema. It's always gonna attract people, whether or not it stays showing mainstream films or eventually moves into more kind of indie films or underground films. wouldn't like to say, who knows, but I think it will always be somewhere that people are going to want to come and see films.
We're also considering running the odd late night show. That's another thing we can do with our time. We could actually show something else, do a late night show. We have done that a couple of times before and it was quite successful. And then we can show something a bit more quirky, like a Tarantino film or a Coen Brothers movie, and make it a bit more fun. And lots of students like to come to things like that. We have a film quiz once a month. That's always advertised in the front of the cinema, and it's always advertised in the local newspapers that we advertise in. I think that's the Herald, the Guardian and the Advertiser. And now I think it's time to give the Worthing audience something a little more.